Yes, people were joined here by Sam. He's smiling, he's happy, of course he is. Also fine, give it the 4-1. You can see AFTV in the background there. Robbie's far too busy, he's busy all night. I've been on there already. Sam?
Yeah.
Summing that up, and you've just been seeing there, that was easier than you thought.
Yeah, of course. Like, for me, I expected Newcastle to be a lot stronger today. I expected Newcastle to actually come for a fight, but today I didn't see that. I mean, I saw more Arsenal dominating. I felt like Arsenal were kind of like in training. For the first half, I felt like we were just, the way that we played, we were just like, over you guys. And I think towards the end of the first half, that's when you guys had more of the ball. And for me, that didn't seem like that's a Newcastle team. And looking at, your injuries like Joe Linton, Isak, it didn't fit that it was you guys today. It didn't seem like it was the Newcastle that beat PSG 4-1 couple of months back.
Seems like a long time ago now, that.
But to be honest, it's still the same Newcastle team. The same Newcastle team that went to the San Siro and held AC Milan at 0-0.
That's what I was hoping for tonight. Do you mean frustrate you, try and catch on the counter, but from the off, the first 10-20 seconds you've seen the difference, didn't you?
Yeah, I've seen a massive difference. But you know what? From when I first met you, from when I first saw you, and from what I thought about Newcastle as a football club, Newcastle United, I'm proud of how far they've come. I don't care what anybody says. I still have a soft spot for you guys. I'm an Arsenal fan. I have a soft spot for Newcastle, and I just love how you guys have gone from being that relegation kind of like contenders to now competing for that top 6, the top 4. And for me, it makes me happy that signings like Isak have completely transformed you guys into being a top team, and for me, I'm all for it. I love seeing you guys.
So you're not worried that Newcastle could eventually take over Arsenal, or do you think that's too far down the line now? Or?
I think that's too far down the line. I think with some of your players, you got to still get the coaching and the tactics right. I mean, Eddie Howe's still the man for the job. Don't get me wrong, he's still the man for the job, but you've got to give him the correct players that he can actually work with. And I feel like you got the power, you got the investment. Time goes on, you'll eventually get those players in easily. The money will come. The money they'll come to Newcastle, and you'll be back up there in no time.
Because you've got to remember when obviously Arteta first came in, a couple of 8th place finishes. Eddie Howe's already got 4th place this year. Yes, it might be 8th, maybe 7th. Yeah. How much do Newcastle need to catch up, and how do they do that to be in a title race to the likes of Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool like they are this year?
I'd say you got to kind of go with what Arteta did. Arteta wasn't just about, I want to get Arsenal like Rome was built in a day. Like, look what he did. He cut a lot of the negativity out the team. Like, that's what Newcastle, I think, there might be some of that with the players in the team. You don't know that. There could be some people who are like, who don't want to compete for titles at Newcastle. I'm like, no, this is Newcastle United Football Club. You're the best team in Tyneside. You know what I mean? You're like levels away from Sunderland. You're levels away, and you got to keep that gap continuing. And how do you do that? Is find those players that don't care. Find those players who kind of don't give 100% every game, and tell them, you know what? Give them a good talking to. You don't want to be here. No problem. No player is bigger than the club. You want to go? Go. For me, looking at Bruno Guimaraes and looking at all the kind of like the talk around him, maybe that's kind of getting to him. And if that gets to a point where you think, you know what? You want to talk big about this club, think that you're bigger than the club, no problem. You get that money in, you recoup it, invest properly, find the good players like, like how to say, do you get your recruitment right?
Gordon and that, you know what I mean?
Like players like Gordon, you can get players for you can pick up players for cheap, like really good players for cheap, and then like progress them over time, sell them, and just be good players.
Yeah, it's like you said, Rome isn't built in a day, is it? And I think as Newcastle fans, listen, like we said, we met during the dark days, mate. Mike Ashley, relegation battles. Yeah. So even from then, for a few years, is a big change. And do you think Newcastle is on the up, and will be a contender in a couple of years to challenge at least Champions League more permanently?
Of course, I think you can. It's all about getting rid of the players that don't want to be there. This is what I said about Arsenal many years ago. Get
rid of the deadwood type of thing, change your mentality.
Get rid of the deadwood, get that mentality changed, and kind of like bridge the gap that's between the players and the fans. That's what Arteta's done. He's kind of like, we're kind of connected, and every game you see Arsenal now.
Unite the fan base type of thing.
Yeah, a united fan base. And I think Newcastle can do. I mean, I remember the Newcastle when I was a kid. I remember when you guys beat us 1-0 in 2005 December when Roberto Solano scored that goal.
Solano, Nobby.
That 1-0. And when the full-time whistle went, I remember that day, every single fan, you guys were connected, you guys were united. When you had likes of Alan Shearer still playing for you guys. And it felt like Newcastle were that team that that give it a couple of years, they're gonna be up there competing. You guys were competing for the Intertoto Cup. I remember a couple of seasons ago, you guys were in the Europa League. You went so far to I believe went to the semi-finals against Benfica, weren't it?
Yeah.
And then it all fell apart. But for me, I want to see Newcastle keep growing. And you know what? Like I said, I got a soft spot for you guys. And I think in the next few years you're going to do it.
We just said off there, that, you know, if you had an Alexander Isak, you could really push for the title, that type of clinical striker.
I agree.
Is that the one player you would pick from this current Newcastle team to sign, or?
Him, I don't know what it is about Joe Linton, but I really like Joe Linton.
Huge miss tonight.
I really like Joe Linton. And Guimaraes, he's someone I kind of want, but I don't want. I just see how rash he is, and knowing Arsenal and having rash players, you just know a red card. He's not a red card's like five minutes away, foul away. But for me, yeah, you know, like your front line, someone like Isak, I'm telling you, you put him at Arsenal, you put him in today, the chances that we missed, oh boy, he's putting them away. I think
that could be 8-0.
I'm not gonna lie about this. You can put this on your channel, anything. But I think if Arsenal had Isak, he'd be on level on goals with Haaland.
Wow, big statement.
That's how much I think.
He'd get that many chances, I suppose, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and
like
not even just that. He's a big fan of Thierry Henry, and if he had the
14 for Arsenal.
14 for Arsenal, I'm telling you, this guy would be putting his heart in week out for the Gunners and smash it.
Arsenal obviously want a striker this summer. Is it going to be Tony, or would you count Isak as someone on the shortlist?
I'd count Isak, I'd count Tony, I'd count whoever's that's kind of like, you know, up there, been there, done that. You know, like Benjamin Šeško of RB Leipzig. Again,
We're linked with him. I would love him, yeah.
He's a really good player. I mean, I'll follow Bundesliga. I'm a massive fan of Bayer Leverkusen, you know, of the Leverkusen. But, you know, like Boniface for Leverkusen as well.
Yeah, I would love him.
Top class, very, very top class. I think had he played in that AFCON final ahead of Osimhen, Nigeria would have won that final.
Yeah.
Easily. That's how much of a fan of him I am. Newcastle should look out for Boniface and look out for Šeško. Xerxes of Bologna, again a prospect signing, but again, he's there.
That's what you want, isn't it?
There was one player that honestly is like one that nobody would really agree with, but Federico Chiesa of Juventus.
Yeah, we were linked with him last summer, you know, and I said snap him up.
I'll go. You know what? Any Premier League club that gets him, I promise you, you got a player on your hands. He's not just a winger. He can play centre forward. He can do everything. He's like an Arteta dream signing. You know what I mean? He's like an Arteta.
He's got end product, man. He's a big player.
Oh my god! Imagine him at Newcastle.
Oh, man,
imagine him at
dream.
Newcastle.
Let's finish off then. Quickly, where do you think Newcastle will finish?
I think guys will finish sixth.
Sixth?
Yeah.
Take that, Europa League maybe.
Yeah.
And can Arsenal win the league?
I believe so. We can, yes. Yes, we can. But it depends on how clinical we are today. Like I said, we could have easily put 4 past you in the first half. But if we're not that clinical in the other games, then the teams will come out to punish us. So I think we can win the league. It's all about the belief now that can we go on and we can take our chances. So I think we can win the league. Yeah.
All right, nice one, Sam. Cheers, mate. Appreciate your time, mate.
You too.
Take it easy, man.
Safe journey home.
Cheers, mate. You too.
Take